This past weekend, Tested had the opportunity to attend our first NASA rocket launch, the InSight mission to send a robot lander to Mars to conduct geophysics experiments. Not only would it be our first NASA rocket launch, InSight is the first interplanetary rocket to take off from the West Coast. Joining Tested contributor and host of our Off-World show, Ariel Waldman, I drove down to Vandenberg Air Force Base in hopes of watching this historic West Coast launch. Our first stop, the NASA mission briefing that would help us understand the purpose and operations of InSight. Hey Ariel.
Hey.
We're here.
Yeah, finally.
It's been a morning.
Yes, bus trip, long
yes.
Bus trip through the Air Force Base.
Yeah, so we're in an Air Force Base right now. This is Vandenberg Air Force Base, somewhere south of, like an hour south of San Luis Obispo. Mm-hmm. For people not in California, it's like halfway between San Francisco and LA.
Approximately. Yeah.
And they do a bunch of rocket launches here.
Yeah, a lot of rocket launches, but this is the very first interplanetary rocket launch. Because typically you want to go east with the motion of the Earth, but this rocket is powerful enough to go south, so they don't have to rely on that extra momentum. And Florida was really busy this time of year, so they're
no
launching.
Flying to Florida for us.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's Thursday as we're here. We're about to watch a briefing. This is going to be the same briefing that everyone watches on the NASA TV stream. And the launch is scheduled for?
4 a.m. on Saturday morning. So we are not going to get any sleep. We're going to stay up all night and yeah.
Party with science.
Yes, party with science.
Just because it's scheduled 4 a.m., does that mean it will launch at 4 a.m.? What are our chances?
Right now, our chances are 20% due to visibility. So it's quite likely you might see us being tired and sad at the same time.
Okay.
But maybe we will get in there for like a scrub or two. So if they do scrub for a day or two, there's a chance we might still see it. But we might also go home empty-handed. So we don't know yet.
We don't know. It's going to be exciting. There's a lot of uncertainty. It's your first rocket launch.
Yes.
My first rocket launch. Got Trace here from Seeker.
Hi.
He's been to a bunch of rocket launches before.
Yeah, he's not a noob.
So we're going to learn more about InSight, learn more about the launch, the rocket, and hopefully get some cool videos and photos. All right, let's see what the next 2 days holds. While it was super cool to see the life-size mock-up of the InSight lander, we didn't expect to be so enamored by the Marco Cube satellites that would also be hitching a ride on the Atlas rocket. Here's Ariel chatting with JPL engineers who worked on that project.
My name is Andy Klesch. I'm the Marco's chief engineer.
I'm Ann Marinin. I am a systems engineer working on Marco.
Awesome. So we had a lot of questions. We totally love that it's nicknamed Wally and Eva. That is just adorable. But like the propulsion, could you talk a bit about like how that works and just some basics of how they're actually going to get to Mars on their own?
Sure. The cold gas propulsion system that we have on board takes up almost half the spacecraft there. We need a lot of propellant to go out there. And that propellant is basically a fire extinguisher. It's called FE36. It's a replacement for halon fire extinguishers out there, which led us to Wally and Eva as names for the spacecraft. But kind of like a fire extinguisher, the propellant is pressurized on the inside, and we just open a valve in what's called blowdown. We just push out the propellant, and it will steer us around along the way. We use the propellant for two different main functions of the spacecraft. One is get ourselves to Mars, orient the spacecraft so we can go out there, and we have 5 trajectory correction maneuvers over the course of the mission to get us to Mars. The first one's only a week to 2 weeks after launch itself, and then slowly we'll move ourselves so we can target that right spot at Mars orbit.
Cool. And then with the spacecraft, they augment the Deep Space Network or allow us to get some more data from the InSight launch. I know it's not dependent on it, but what are these CubeSats going to be able to do in order to, I guess, help us get more stuff out of the Deep Space Network?
So it's more augmenting on-orbit assets rather than the Deep Space Network itself. So Marco, if all of this technology that has to work gets it all the way to Mars, then the trajectory is designed such that it's timed precisely with the entry, descent, and landing maneuver of InSight. And so the radio on board is designed with a mode that will receive UHF data from the antenna on the bottom and transmit it almost simultaneously from the high gain antenna at the top. And that is on a frequency and is configured such that the DSN can actually hear it and get the data back to the InSight team as entry, descent, and landing is happening.
So essentially we'll be getting a faster update on the 7 minutes of terror that everyone's familiar with from the Mars Curiosity landing. We'll be able to more quickly know about if it made it through that terror.
Essentially, yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much for talking to us.
Absolutely.
No touching, Ariel.
Yeah, don't touch the spacecraft.
Don't touch the mock-ups.
Yeah, that's what we've been told. Yeah.
We just went through the briefing.
Yeah, it was nerdy, as you can expect. We learned a lot about the instruments. I kind of view NASA InSight as being sort of like a spacecraft with a bag of tricks, or go-go gadget. It picks up different gadgets and it sets them down on the surface. So
2 tricks, really, right? It can detect like seismic activity
yeah,
for the composition of Mars, and then it can also dig up to, 16 feet?
16
down.
feet, yes, and measure sort of the heat conductivity. But it's also got like a little hood that it can put over the seismometer to block out wind. It's got some tricks.
It's pretty amazing that the scientists are saying just with those 2 tools, they can learn a lot about how planets are made, essentially.
Yeah, they're kind of sensing for like the vibrations in Mars to better understand the sloshy core that may or may not be there inside of Mars. And it's kind of crazy that they don't even know really what the inside of Mars looks like until kind of this mission.
And to get to that 7 minutes of terror, which is going to be hopefully in November, we need to get to a launch. And here's where there's an update, right?
Yes.
The weather officer on the Air Force Base let us know that the 80% of chance of violation that they talked about really doesn't mean that they won't launch it.
Yes.
It means that we just won't be able to see it. So NASA could decide on Saturday morning, yeah, there's only low visibility, a mile out, 2 miles out, but they're going to go for it anyway.
Yeah.
And then we just won't see it. So
Yeah.
we'll be at our first rocket launch, but we will have no visuals on it.
Yes, we will get the rumble, which I guess is like proper for this sort of mission. It's all about searching for Mars quakes, and so we might actually not see the rocket launch, but we might get our own earthquake, so to speak, from the rocket launch and feel it, but we might have nothing to show for it, unless, of course, we decide to drive south, but then we won't feel the rumble of the rocket, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would rather be here. We're going to get another update tomorrow, so hopefully the weather improves, but we'll see in a couple days.
Yep.
We're in Lompoc, and there's not a lot to do here, but we're driving around looking for space pride, right? This is a town that's right next to Vandenberg Air Force Base. There's got to be some space pride in this town. All right, Lompokians, show us what you got.
I found some murals. Classic Lompoc. Not space.
Okay, enough of the local color. It was time to get back on base for a remote camera setup and an unexpected first chance to see the rocket in person. Hey Ariel,
Hey.
you got a rocket behind you.
Oh no, it's
Oh my God.
I got it. Whoa! It's big. It's real big.
We're here.
We're here.
We made it.
That's a rocket.
Yeah.
We're really small to you
Yeah.
because that's
Really massive.
big. Yeah, 200 feet tall. We were driving up. We're actually here for a remote camera setup
Yep.
right now. As the bus was driving up, now on the base, we're not allowed to film while the bus is traveling, so you didn't get our reaction. But we looked at each other and our minds were blown.
We were like little kids, pretty much.
We didn't know that we would be that close to the rocket. Atlas V, 401 version, and
Yep.
then InSight inside that cone on the top.
The little lander with the flappy wings.
And right now, it's about 5 p.m., so
The fog is coming in.
yeah, I can see the haze. It's gonna get dark, get a little hazy, but we have our camera set up behind. And 11 hours or so, hopefully, that thing will leave the planet.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's gonna leave the planet.
I know. And
For another planet.
And we're gonna feel it, even if we can't see it.
So next up, we're gonna find out where we're gonna be because we wanna be nowhere near this when that launches. We'll see you there.
So yeah, we're back at the launch pad. Oh my God, I'm just I don't have words. That's how excited I am. Don't have words.
6 hours ago, we didn't even know if we were going to see it this close,
Yeah.
and now we're back after a remote camera setup.
Yeah.
You can see it's all lit up, and what we're here for at around 11 p.m., so 5 hours from takeoff, is for the rollback. The whole tower surrounding the rocket is going to go move back. You've seen it in time lapses before, but it's going to happen over a span of 15 to 20 minutes or so, and there's a last chance that we'll see it this close before it leaves.
Yeah, and we have the drama of nighttime and fog and just, I don't know, it's all the setting of it. You know, even though it might not be perfect visibility, the drama,
Yeah.
it's I don't know, this is a good first rocket launch, I
It
think.
helps that there are some dramatic lights, like spotlights, like what you see in those movies. You know, it's right on there, but you're right. We brought the San Francisco fog here. There's haze even at around 100, 200 meters. But our cameras, thankfully, are going to be that close, so we're going to get some good photos, cross our fingers. Next step is going to get fueled up. We're going to show you some close-up shots. Enjoy those, because we're going to see the rocket head to space next. All right, here we are.
A few minutes before launch.
So yeah, we're about half hour away from launch, 3:30 a.m. We are very tired. We've been up
Yes.
all day.
Yes.
And as you can see, there's not a lot to see.
Yeah, we're about 4 miles or something away from the launch pad, so it's going to be a surprise to us as much as to you as to what we actually end up seeing.
And what you can't see next to you is a whole row of cameras, dozens of them.
Of which we own about 14
We
of
have
them.
14. We took every camera that we had, any device that could capture a photo or a video, whether it was a phone, a tablet, a camera, put it on a tripod, gaff tape it together, because we're here.
Yeah.
We're here to document it. The marine layer situation has not gotten much better. So while we can see in a distance a few glimpses of cars, we actually don't know exactly where the launch pad is.
No, we're
Think it's in that
guesstimating.
direction. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in half an hour, if all things go well, we will hear a countdown. All the lights will be turned off, so it'll be dark. We'll still have our mics on,
Yes.
and you'll hear a reaction, hopefully see something that resembles a rocket launching in the background.
Yep, we'll find out.
So thanks for following with us for our journey. We've made it this far. We're going to see a launch, something.
Our first rocket launch. It will be an experience.
Awesome. All right, we'll see you then. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition.
They have ignition, but
Okay. Are we going to see anything?
Oh,
We
we
get
can
the
hear it.
sound. Oh my God.
you hear it?
Whoa. That is pretty loud.
Wow. This is 4 miles away sound.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
This is a rumble. Ooh, that sounded bigger.
Wow.
That's lighting up
It's
the
a bit
fog.
red. It's a bit red.
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, little pops. More pops.
That's it. Mild failure.
Well,
I think that was a rocket launch.
yeah. I mean, the sound was impressive. It felt like it was going to come straight for us.
We didn't see a single thing.
We didn't see anything, not even, barely even a red glow. Not even that.
So we didn't technically get to see InSight launch. This is NASA footage you're watching right now. But we sure heard it, and we definitely felt it. Not the shockwave from the rocket itself, but the energy on that gravel hilltop. From the other reporters huddled close to cameras, to rocket scientists and engineers around us, some of whom had been working for decades building the tools and instruments that now are on their way to Mars. That kind of energy was invigorating. The collective exhale of thousands of people watching something humans made leave the planet. Another important step in the journey to give ourselves a better understanding of what's out there and where this rock we call home came from. Consider us hooked on rocket launches, and we'll see you at the next one. Thanks for watching.